podcast. First of all, congrats on making a repeat appearance. I mean, this is big.
Have you been on this before?
You have been on this before. You forget already.
Yeah, it's not very exciting. At least you could do is shave.
No, for you, I don't shave. I got my Expos jersey. Tim Raines, in honor of Tim Raines and the Hawk.
Media, the standards for media have gone way.
The pandemic has definitely helped us in our wardrobes, hasn't it? No doubt. As if it couldn't get worse.
Yeah.
We brought it to a new level. All right, so listen, let's start with the big news. The big news is you made yourself relevant last week.
I appreciate it. Took me 50 years, huh?
That's right. It took you a while, but you're finally relevant. You did it with a video, almost a tribute video, I think, to John Calipari. You were not happy with the fact that Cal was saying that you were difficult to deal with, or you may not play the annual Kentucky Louisville game. You came back with a video basically going through every little detail of what had happened and where it was right now. Where does it stand? Are you and Cal, have you broken bread? Are you meeting? Where is halfway between Louisville and Lexington that you guys could maybe meet and break bread and resolve this issue?
We were looking for a neutral site opportunity, but that didn't materialize. So we'll play at the Yum Center. I'm not going to do another video here on your podcast and up your followers by 50 to 100 now that I'm relevant. So, yeah, it was frustrating, but hey, it's scheduled. We're excited to play the game. I certainly wanted to make sure my seniors got an opportunity to play. I mean, it's a great rivalry, as you know, and never at one point did we not want to play the game. We're just trying to figure out the best way to go about playing it, and said what I said.
So what was the response you got? I was surprised at Cal's response. I thought he'd come back a little harder on you with some creativity. And
yeah, I can only be responsible for myself. So
for your own actions and words.
And some days that's tougher than others. I would say that there wasn't much response, quite honestly. What you saw publicly was probably what we got as well.
How many followers did you gain through the video? That's what I want to know.
I have no idea, but a few, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. December 26th. That's the date of the game, which to me, it really surprises me because I don't understand why you would play a game that close to Christmas. First of all, it makes it very difficult. You can't send your kids home for Christmas. And it's right now a hot button topic. I talk to coaches around the country. Some are saying we want to send our kids home for Christmas. With everything that's gone on in the pandemic, their parents certainly want to have the kids home for Christmas. You can't do that on December 26th, obviously.
Well, you see, so I think there's a misnomer that you have to take off those 3 days around Christmas. Like, we're going to give our guys off after, the Kentucky game, the 27th through the 30th, before we play an ACC game in the beginning of January. So we'll have enough time to give them off and then get back to practice leading up to that first, I shouldn't say first conference game, but a conference game, our first one in January. But, I'll be honest with you, it's a dilemma. You send your kids home because you feel like it's the right thing to do. The cases that we've had of the virus have been, for the most part, when guys have gone home. Right. And the last thing we want to do is bring a couple guys back sick because, by the time they get over the virus, it's a 21-day ordeal, from the isolation period to the return to play protocol and all the heart testing that they get. Not to mention, it's not like they're sitting there on the sideline watching what you're putting in or, watching, what you're preparing or who you're preparing to play. They're sitting in their room. So it's just, and we're not going to be the only team. I just got to figure out, Jeff, if actually sending them home or just giving them time off is the right thing to do.
Yeah. And again, do you want them on a plane, flying home? Can they drive somewhere to family? It's difficult. Hey, one more question that I know a lot of people have for you, and then I'll be done with the Calipari topic, I promise. What's your relationship like with him? I think that's what surprised a lot of people, that you put out the video and people wondering, well, is this something where they've got some good, like, I think it's great for the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry. I think it's much needed. At the end of Pitino, Cal, it got really boring. It
Well,
really
we appreciate your input on that. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
your input, you know.
yeah, we need to spice it up, and you've done that. So I like it. But what's is your relationship just kind of see him at a gym and you'll talk to him for a few minutes? What's it been like? What is it?
So to be honest, when I first got the job here, it didn't have much of a relationship. You know, he obviously was the assistant coach that recruited Sean Miller, my old boss. So, you know, some events that we would play, we had a couple events that we played Memphis in. You know, I saw him a little bit. I obviously, you know, I've worked a couple fantasy camps where he's been at. But, you know, to say that it's been more than just cordial, or that, you know, we're great friends, or I knew him very well prior to, wouldn't be accurate. You know, I'm the Louisville coach. You know, he's a Kentucky coach. You know, we're not, hey, come on over to the house and let's watch some Netflix. I mean, it's not reality. Like, I'm trying to, you know, run a program that, you know, that's an intense rivalry here in the state of Kentucky, as you know. So it's fine. You know, I don't feel like it's contentious. I don't feel like, you know, there's bad blood. He may feel differently. I don't think so, but I don't really spend time worrying about it.
So I want you guys to absolutely hate each other.
You know, like, life's too short. I don't hate anybody. You know, I really don't.
I'm kidding. But
I'm
competitive,
I do.
But listen, like, I always like, again, the Bruce Pearl, like, it adds to the rivalry. Certainly if, you know, coaches aren't putting their arms around one another, it does add another element, because you guys are the face of your programs too, and going to sustain when the players leave and everything like that. So, like, did you have a problem when LeBron James walked off the court the other night before the end of the game with a few seconds left? I had no issue with it. None.
I mean, anything that LeBron does is going to be, like, scrutinized to the highest level. You know, I'm sure there's been other games where, you know, guys have walked off the court. Hell, remember when the Pistons did it and wouldn't shake the Celtics' hand? So it's like, that to me is not in the same stratosphere. Again, anything that he does is so daggone highly scrutinized, because he's one of the greatest of all time. You know, I didn't really pay much attention to it in terms of how I felt about it.
All right, we'll move off the Calipari thing now. We'll be done, I promise.
All right, man.
We'll move on to something. We'll move on to something far more fun, which is scheduling. Scheduling. Look at your face already. Scheduling. It sucks. I've called it a shit show. And
yeah, I mean, I don't want to just complain, but
yeah.
You know, I just felt like the NCAA. I mean, why would you move the season back for 2 weeks? I mean, it makes no sense. And I keep hearing you know, it's about the safety of the environment. I mean, we're practicing in the same environment for 2 months leading up to games. And when I go on a road trip, I don't take my team through campus. You know, so it's like we never visit the other school's campus. Like, it's irrelevant. You walk in the gym and you play the game. And provided the gym's a safe environment, like, who cares what the campus is like, whether there's students there or not? There's no interaction with the visiting team.
Right.
So basically what you did is just made it chaos, you know, in terms of trying to schedule games, when you could have just kept your original schedule. And certainly some bye games were going to have to be talked about because of the fact of no fans at a lot of places. But hey, at least you would have had a starting template on, this is what our schedule looks like. So it's just.
It's funny. I didn't agree with it, Chris. Like 2 months ago, I was like, yeah, we should push it back. It sounds safer, right, to have it when all the kids leave campus for Thanksgiving. And now I completely regret thinking that way, looking back on it and saying, like, you're right. What's the difference? 2 weeks? There's no difference.
When I kept on hearing that the season was going to get pushed back, you know, I was thinking, like, a little bit like what the NBA is talking about for next season, like January, conference games only. And I'm not saying that was the right decision, but that makes a little bit more sense, because you're literally pushing it way back.
Sure.
And we're going to learn
2 weeks. What's 2 weeks going to do?
So, like, to do it 2 weeks is nothing more than optics, a pain in the ass in scheduling, which wasn't needed. Which wasn't needed. There's nothing, unless a vaccine was created within those 2 weeks and distributed,
Nothing changes. Yeah, nothing changes. No, you're right. You're right. So your MT, I don't know how much you can even talk about this, but I know you got UNC Greensboro coming in, which is good. Wes Miller, they got a good team. I think you got Winthrop coming in, Duquesne.
Yeah, so we have signed contracts back, from Duquesne, from UNCG, and from Winthrop, and we have a couple more that we feel like are going to be sent back today. And our event can be anywhere from 4 teams, to 10 teams. And I think we'll probably be closer to 10 than we will be to 4.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, again, what the city's done for us, Jeff, in terms of like the Galt House is connected to the Yum Center. I know a lot of these places are saying, hey, it's more of a protected environment than it is a bubble. But, ours is going to be more bubble than it is protected. And I give the people around here a lot of credit. And so, we're excited. And obviously, it's going to start our season on November 25th and start a lot of team season here. And I think it's going to be as successful as it can be.
How many games will you get in that event? How many games do you want?
Well, I mean, the event itself, it could be 3, it could be 4. Again, there could be games because the teams are here that aren't part of the MTE. And I think that we'll end up playing, at least 4 with a possibility of a 5th game. I don't know that right now. It's still, I would say pretty early because it's October 7th, but it's still pretty early as we're getting some of these contracts back.
I'm just glad you've got Dino Gotti on this case and not you.
He's worked his tail off, man.
Everybody had. I mean, people don't realize scheduling right now, how brutal it is. And again, when I call it a shit show, I'm not blaming it on anybody specifically that we're in this point, other than maybe the NCAA. But
yeah, I was gonna say, you figure it out.
What I'm saying is, like, again, it is what it is. All this.
I got to plug in here before I lose you. I'm making sure the power's up. All right.
Yeah, you don't want to. Then you will not get a third. You won't get a third appearance. Just so you know, you got to be prepared for the Good and Plenty pod. You better be well prepared.
Yeah.
So
anyway, your wife, your daughter, who watches this anyway?
Your kids.
Okay. Oh, my kids.
Yeah, I think so. What? So give me the latest. Your daughters. You got 2 playing volleyball. They're on the same team. You told me before we started.
Yeah.
And your son, his basketball acumen was not very high last time I saw him when I was in Louisville a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Right now, he's doing great. This is the time where he's trying to figure out what he wants to be for Halloween. So he's fluctuating.
I have a great idea. I got a great idea for him.
If it doesn't involve Minecraft, it's going to.
John Calipari. Can he dress up as Cal?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, he probably could. I wouldn't let him in the house, but he probably could.
So your 2 girls are on the same volleyball team. Competitive? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, no, my kids get along great. Obviously they have their sister moments, but they're really, really connected at the hip and really good friends, and they play different positions. So my freshman, Haley, she made JV. My sophomore, Laney's on JV as well. So the fact that they get to play together is really cool, and even better for mom and dad not to have to go to all different game times. We can show up for the JV game and, knock 2 birds out with 1 stone.
I still don't understand. So my daughter, Talia, not a big athlete, but played volleyball last year. And I still don't understand all the little intricacies and the rules of, like, first of all,
got to get it over on the 3rd hit.
No, I get that. Dumbass. All right. Like, what I don't get is the like, when they come out of the game and into the game, they got to do that, like, the hand thing. And it takes forever sometimes. Yeah. Why can't they just do it and get the hell in and out? Like,
it's something to do with the umpire, referee, writing everything down. And sometimes you have kids working the scorers table, so they're a little slow on the take. But I've learned a lot. My kids have been playing now for quite a while, both club season and doing the high school thing now. So I've learned a lot, just watching. It's sort of cool because I didn't know much about volleyball other than, spike, and a dig. And now I've learned a lot. And, I'm still sort of quiet at the games, but just supporting my kids. But it's a really cool sport when you get to know it more than just hitting the ball over the net.
So here's a random one. Your favorite Bill Murray story since he's been around you in the program. And you can't tell the one when he went off on me. You weren't there, I don't think, for that one. It was before your game at Madison Square Garden, and he absolutely crushed me.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember this? It was pretty good.
No, I don't
It was
remember
something
this.
involving his memory is
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Remember,
I
like
think
Miles
vaguely.
Davis.
Yeah,
Miles,
vaguely. Yeah.
right? Like I said something about Miles Davis when he got dismissed
Removed.
from,
Yeah.
removed from the team on Sports Center. He remembered it. I don't even remember saying it, but his memory and how this is built up here for him is insane. So he started yelling at me before the game, Madison Square Garden. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
What do you
Probably
got?
deserved it.
I did.
I would, I've got a lot of stories. Some of them are secondhand. My wife's gone out to eat with him and stuff, and she would come back and say, "You're not going to believe this." But I think one of the coolest things was, I'm in my office. Luke hasn't been on staff very long. I think it's the first, maybe the second time that I've met him, and he comes walking in my office unannounced. Like I didn't know that. A lot of times you don't know when Bill's coming to town. He just sort of pops in this or in the locker room right before the game, when you're writing down notes on the dry erase board. That's always a good one. Yeah. But he walks into my office and, one thing leads to another. He's asking me questions, and it's, off season. So it's a little bit more laid back. And somehow he finds a putter. And so, he asked me to start putting down the hallway a little bit, and I'm putting, and he's correcting my form, like you have to do this, when you're putting. And at one point I stopped and I'm thinking, like, this is the dude from Caddyshack giving me lessons in putting, and, I'm 50. So like Caddyshack was right in my wheelhouse. Like I literally have every line memorized, and I always have. And I'm sitting there thinking like, this is really like,
what's happening?
Ever?
Right.
Yeah, this is happening. I want to have all my friends that I've ever met, like watching Bill Murray give me putting lessons, which, aren't going to help anyway. But
do you buy? Hey, do you buy that Luke has never watched Caddyshack, or has he since?
No, I don't. I don't buy that.
I don't either. I think he's full of crap on that one. I think he's watched it. We won't tell him.
I mean, maybe he turned it off, but you can't say you've never watched it.
I know. How could you not have watched it? I mean, I know he's younger than us, but first of all, it's your dad. It's arguably the most well-renowned movie he's ever done. Hilarious. But anyway, all right.
Stripes
off topic.
Up there. Yeah.
This is what we do on this podcast. Just go anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. That's probably why nobody listens.
The thing about Bill is, a lot of his movies have been rated R. So it's like, for a while, my kids would be like, I'd say, hey, this is, Luke's dad is a big deal. Well, can I watch any of his movies? No,
not yet.
Old enough. Yeah.
Hell no.
I'm not showing Stripes. I'm not showing Caddyshack. Groundhog Day sort of, is on the fence. There's a couple scenes there, but, they get it now.
By the way, speaking of girls, as you know, my daughter's a little bit older than your girls. So Talia just got her license about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's not happening in the Mack household, not until they're 21.
You got this Life 360 app. It's like the greatest thing ever, where you can track where they are through their phone, not only where they are, but also
that's a great parent. Yeah. 360 degrees. Want to make sure I know where you are every step of the way.
Listen, I'm not that bad. But
I didn't have that when I was a kid.
You'd be in trouble. You can also tell how fast they're going on the app. It's a little scary. All right. What do you think this season's going to look like? Like if your best guess, and it's a guess, we have no idea at this point, but do you think, is it a good season? If I told you right now, sign on the dotted line, you're going to play 20 games. Are you taking that and running with it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. And I say that because it's not just you. Obviously, it's your future opponents. Right. Games come a lot quicker than they do in football. You could play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. And if any one of your opponents or yourself, has to quarantine, and you're out however many days, 21 days, that's a lot of games you're missing. And then you got a lot of opponents that are in the same boat. So I think it may, have more bumps in the road than the NFL and Major League Baseball, which, have had their share, especially baseball more in the beginning. Football, we're in the beginning, so we're just seeing stuff happen now. But, unless people are going to change some of the way that we deal with guys getting exposed and having to quarantine, if that doesn't change a whole lot, there's going to be some teams sitting.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think if everyone can get 20 games and an NCAA tournament, that's a pretty successful year this year.
Yeah.
I think, again, the hard part for me is still that there's no common ground with a lot of this. Everything's different. I know it's got to be. Everybody's in a different state. Every school's got different protocols.
Doesn't have to be. I wouldn't make that an absolute. Doesn't have to be.
So would you do that? Would you try to make it consistent among? Now, again, not everybody can test the same. Now, maybe the NCAA can throw in some money for testing. They make $950 million on the NCAA tournament.
I thought you were taking it up even higher when I said it doesn't have to be. If you're talking about at the NCAA level, yeah, sure, you can keep that consistent. I thought you were talking about governors and politicians.
No, I don't even want to get into that shit. Involved. I'm not even. Yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah, I was talking more of, could the NCAA make it consistent? They'd have to pour some money into it.
Well, that's the rub of it. So you're going to have schools that, if those standards are extremely high, you already have enough struggle right now for low and mid-major teams to even field a team. And, universities are cutting sports, furloughing people left and right. So to say, hey, we're going to make the standard here and think that those teams are going to be able to meet it from a testing standpoint, just not possible unless, schools like ours are helping these teams.
One more thing, and then I'm going to get to your team. Next week, there's probably going to be a vote with the D1 Council on every player, student athlete in winter sports getting their year back, basically getting an additional year of eligibility. Like it, don't like it. Where are you with that?
I like it. I think every school is going to have their own unique decision to make, because let's say a team has 5 seniors, it doesn't mean that university is going to bring back all 5 seniors and have 18 kids on scholarship. It just the financials of that aren't a reality for some schools, just as we talked about it before. So, for us, I'd love to have a couple of those guys back. Other guys are going to have another year of eligibility. We'll see how that sort of, plays out over time. I don't know if it'll be have a big impact on Louisville, just because of what our roster, currently looks like, the seniors that we have and whatnot. But, it's going to be, I don't think it'll be as big of an impact as people think.
I agree. I think you'll have like one player a team, maybe, that it impacts, right? If you got 4 seniors, most of them want to be done anywhere, especially at your level. They want to play pro, whether it's overseas or in the NBA. They want out. I think it's going to affect the mids more, because let's say a kid plays 15 games this year and gets another year, and a high like you wants to go after the best player at whatever. I'm not even going to say the name.
Well, it's going to produce a lot of grad transfers, because even though these kids are, getting another year of eligibility, they were in school during that time, right, another 30 credit hours that they've accrued. And you're going to have a lot of kids graduating on time with an extra year of eligibility down the road, every year, really.
All right. It's funny. The crazy thing is, this is like the first week that I've done the pod and actually talked basketball a little bit, or wanted to. I felt like I just felt like before this, it was like so many other things going on, almost like not the reality that basketball is going to be played soon. So with that, I guess your team this year, you've got a lot of talented kids that we don't know completely what to expect, right? David Johnson showed flashes last year, but didn't. Again, part because he was hurt in the preseason, never was able to kind of do what you wanted him to do or what you thought he might do. Samuel Williamson, terrific player. Now will have an expanded role. Carlik Jones, probably maybe as good a grad transfer as there was in the offseason, but with the caveat of every grad transfer that goes up a level, pretty much for the most part, you cut their production in half when they go mid to high. There are exceptions to the rule, but when I did a study this months ago, that's basically what it was. Kids average. I don't want to be the gloom and doom guy.
You did a study?
I did a full study.
Wow.
Full study. It was pretty good. You
sure
should
Talia
see it.
didn't do that?
She did not do the study. She does not have the bandwidth to do a study like that yet. But no, it's true. Like I think overall, guys average about 12 points a game overall from 50 players that went up a level. And when they went up a level at their new spot, they averaged like 6 points a game on average. Now, again, Carlik Jones, obviously a little bit different level player, a player of the year guy at Radford. I guess, what are your expectations for some of these guys this year, and what are the overall expectations for this team?
I'm really excited about our team. I've seen our team since June 1st. Granted, they've had masks on in all of our workouts, and that's taken some time to get used to. But our team's going to look a lot different than it did a year ago. We had so many guys that were in their 5th year of college basketball. We were one of the oldest teams in the country last year, from Ryan McMahon, Dwayne Sutton, Stephen Enoch, Fresh Kimball. We had like 4 or 5 guys that were in their 5th year of college basketball. And, we were the beneficiary of that. We've got a lot of guys that aren't household names. You mentioned a few of them, but, outside of just not having a ton of experience, it doesn't mean they don't have a lot of ability and are hungry to have a really good year. I think David's got to make a big leap for us, especially in consistency and getting his turnovers down. You're not a great playmaker if for every play that you make, you're making a negative one too. That there's, it's risk reward. We want the reward. We don't want the risk part. We want to make sure that he's making really good decisions. I think having a guy like Carlik next to him makes David an even better player. We can get him out in transition a little bit more, advance the ball up to him. He's a phenomenal athlete at the rim, and I don't think he's ever necessarily played with a pure point guard. And I really don't care what that study says. Carlik Jones is a terrific player. Yeah. He's special, and I think Cardinal fans are going to love what he brings to the table. He's been our most consistent and our best player in the preseason and in the summer. I think our leadership with Malik Williams, maybe one of the best leaders, especially for a big guy. You don't really find big guys that lead, and those guys have to be your voice on the floor defensively because they see everybody. They're usually around the basket first to start a possession so they can see the floor. His intelligence, his experience, his toughness is unmatched. He's the rock that you want defensively, and he's gotten much better offensively through his time. I think Sam's going to have to make a big jump for us on both ends of the floor. And then, we've got a lot of guys, Jeff, from 5 to 9 that are trying to separate themselves. Yeah. But I think a lot of them are going to be contributors. I just don't know at this point to what level they're going to be consistent. And but I like our pieces. I really do. I love the guys that I'm coaching. We got great kids, high integrity and character.
David will play mostly with the ball in his hands, and Carlik, it sounds like, will play primarily off the ball, or is it kind of whoever gets it goes?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. We have to have some organization to what we're doing so we don't have 2 guys asking for outlets and nobody down the floor. Yeah. But, I just think when you say, okay, this is the point guard and this is a guy that has the ball in their hands, like, I don't know, it's just basketball. It's basketball. Both of those guys are going to be involved in, in pick and roll. Both of those guys are going to be asked to score the ball at times. They both need to be really good defensive players for us. There's going to be a lot on their shoulders.
Joe Burrow, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. He's awesome, isn't he?
You love him, don't you?
Oh, how could you not? He sits in
he's no Kenny Anderson, though. He's no Ken Anderson.
And not yet. He's only played 4 games,
I'm kidding. He's going to bring the Bengals back to relevance like your video did for you.
I appreciate it. I would say that, like, oh, man, he just got so much composure.
He does.
Man, you know, he is so fun to watch. And, you know, a couple things that he did on Sunday. I mean, it just looked like he was about to get sacked on a second or third down, and he spins out of it and gets a first down. Doesn't know how to slide yet. You know, I don't think he slid a whole lot at LSU.
Yeah.
But supreme confidence, you know, and I think the best athletes have that without being so arrogant. They turn off their teammates. You know, it just seems like a
good kid. Dude,
everybody on the team talks about how, you know, they love him and they believe in him. And so, you know, it's more than one guy, though. We need some other guys.
You got to start there. I mean, that's where you start. You get a cornerstone quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't win without that generally. So if you have that, at least, then they're not going to win a ton of games right now, but at least, you know, you throw them in the fire and they get better. And
excited, man.
I know you are. Exciting. You should be. You should be. Kind of like they're excited here about the Brian Hoyer, Jared Stidham combo.
Yeah.
That was exciting the other night.
You know what? You guys deserve that for all those championships you've won. You got to have some lean years here.
Listen, don't tell me, because I don't like Belichick. So I'm fine with them losing.
Yeah,
I want to
don't like a guy that all he does is win Super Bowls.
No, I respect him. Listen, I respect Belichick. I think he's an incredible coach. But if you had
that's it right there.
If you had to cover a Bill Belichick press conference, which I did years ago, luckily I haven't in many years.
Right.
It's as painful as it gets.
Hey, so what? His job is to what? Win games.
Win games.
Chips.
He's done it at all costs.
Yeah. Yes, he has.
At all costs. Whatever it's taken, Bill Belichick's done it.
Little Spygate, deflating the ball. You know,
a few gates. What's wrong with a few gates?
Right.
All right. So I'm going to leave you on this note. I've heard, I know you need more teams for your MTV. I was going to call it.
Yeah.
I heard Iona's looking. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any phone calls from anybody from Iona.
All right.
I don't see that happening.
We'll end it on that note. I don't need to get. We don't need another video. We don't need another video
appreciate
here.
That. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Listen, the only other major change for me during the pandemic, I started it by driving to Dunkin' Donuts with my daughter every day because she had a permit. I've now abandoned Dunkin' Donuts. I'm done. I get the Starbucks in the store. I don't like Starbucks in the actual store, but in the grocery store, they're different. They're much better.
Yeah, you're a stuck-up Starbucks guy, huh?
No, have you tried Starbucks in the bottles?
No.
Try them. I'm telling you, try them.
I'm sure they're cheap, right?
No, they're not cheap.
Yeah, they're like $4.50, I bet. You know, like all you're paying for is marketing.
I'm telling you, they're good.
Right there. Boom.
They're really good. All right, on
Dunkin'
that note,
$2 coffee.
Listen, it's not $2. Dunkin' Donuts is not $2. I wish it was.
$2.79, but we're right there.
Well, if you get it between the hours, I think of like, aren't there certain things if you get it between like 1 and 3 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm not that. I'm only going one time early in the morning.
That's it?
Yeah, I get the biggest one they have.
Yeah, but then it melts. You got to drink it quick. I got the
melts.
Starbucks thing in here.
Melts. I mean, what I get is hot coffee. I'm not getting those.
You don't put ice?
Drinks with all that.
You don't get it with a ton of ice?
No, I don't get it with any ice. Get a hot coffee.
Hot coffee? We're out of here. Forget this. This is over. You're not coming back on. Later. Thanks, man.
All right, see you.